What's up, everybody? Welcome to Deep in the Plus. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside, and tonight we're finishing something we started long ago. We have only 60 minutes to review this movie. Just 60 minutes left of the original High School Musical trilogy. Patrick?
What team?
Wildcats!
Get your head in the game.
Ah, it's so exciting. You know what? You and I were two grown men going back to the original High School Musical, and then we decided you were the High School Musical guy.
I just had this conversation with my wife. She's like, how many different things are you for Deep in the Plus? I'm like, well, I'm the High School Musical correspondent.
Sure.
I'm the Mars correspondent.
Yep.
I am the St. Patrick's Day specialist.
Absolutely.
What else? Oh, Herbie the Love Bug.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I handle all things Herbie. Can't wait until Fully Loaded is eventually on Deep the Plus.
You almost said on Deep in the Plus, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
On the Plus. So on the Plus side, yes, you are all those things, and man, we appreciate it. Also, you know, you've gone above and beyond with some other magical reviews with me, but this one, we just said, hey, you know what? It's time. We got to finish off the Wildcat trilogy. And
it's graduation season.
Oh my gosh! You know what? When you mentioned it originally, it didn't even occur to me that it was graduation season, and then I was like, "This is perfect. This one actually works out." And as you can see at the bottom, there was a lot of High School Musical. There's actually a section. Just like there's a Muppet section, there's actually a section is the High School Musical collection, because you've got High School Musical, High School Musical 2, High School Musical 3 senior year, and then you've got Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, of course, which I don't...
eventually...
Are we obligated? Are we obligated? Okay,
I think by law.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, yeah, if you say so.
And then there's High School Musical, the series, High School Musical, the series, Beauty and the Beast, Beast Revenge.
Yeah,
and then High School Musical, the autobiography, which is actually just Kenny Ortega talking about his life.
Yeah, that sounds good. So this one came out in 2008. They did a great job with this one, doing them very quickly before everybody kind of grew up too much. It was 2006, 7, and 8. Oh, you have thoughts. Wait, what?
There's a couple Wildcats who look a bit
mature.
Yeah, a bit mature past high school age. Corbin Blue looks like he's about 30 in this, and the actor who plays Kelsey, she started off looking like the youngest of them all, and man, was she just a grown adult that they were really trying hard to make look like a child in this episode.
I don't know. What would you call it? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, Episode 4 of Star Wars, Episode 5 of Star Wars, Episode 3 of the High School Musical group.
Can't wait till we get the prequels.
I'm not feeling good about the prequels, though. So when this one happened, it happened in the theater. That was the difference. Is the first two were Disney Channel original movies, or DCOMs as we lovingly call them, and then they were like, you know what, we can make some bigger money. We can go to the theater, and we can do this movie in the theater. And they did. And, I mean, I guess people went to see it, but then, you know, now it's kind of lumped in with the actual TV DCOMs, right? Did you go see this in the theater, Patrick?
I did not. I did not.
Okay. If you say so.
Yeah, I do say so. I did not go and see this. I mean, I would have been... 28 at that time, 27, whatever.
I don't keep count anymore.
I had a cousin that I could have gone and seen it, but I definitely waited until it hit DCOM. I do believe this is the infamous red carpet moment with Zac Efron, that kind of like, oh, he's not a child anymore moment. I could be mistaken, though.
Here's all I know about this movie and Zac Efron is that, you know, top of his game.
I don't know. I think he's really oh, God, he's so sweaty. Like, did they just dump buckets of water on him?
Probably.
Oh, so sweaty. It is the record for a movie musical with 42 million, although I think Mamma Mia's sequel might have beaten that.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, and it's the weirdness is to have started this on TV and then to have the third part of it be in a movie. Like, a lot of people have done Bob's Burgers, South Park. Let's do it all on TV and then let's bring it to the big screen. But this one was part of that trilogy, which I think made it kind of strange. So when it starts out where, any good Wildcat story would start out basketball. It's the big game. It's the big game, Patrick. The big game. And instead of having it at the end where we're like, will they, won't they win? They have it right there at the beginning to get it over with. And then we don't really see basketball again. Is that weird?
Well, there is the dance scene where he gets attacked by sentient basketballs. So there is that.
That did help.
And then we get a little face-off with him and his dad. That seems to be where they do their best talking, which I kind of dig. They're basketball-playing family. Like, this is the basketball version of playing catch. They're just shooting hoops and kind of going back and forth. It seems to be where he has the meaningful conversations with his dad. But this is the big basketball set piece.
Yeah.
Boy, do I have some critiques.
Go! It's time. It's go time, man.
This is, out of all the movies that we've seen, like, this is worse than Luck of the Irish in terms of how this game goes. All of a sudden, they're throwing lob passes to Troy in the low post. Like, he's a 5'0" guard. What is he doing down there in the low post? And why are you throwing him a lob? Like, he's not going to jump up there and dunk it. He's going to try and get a layup. And, man, it was just... And it was not feasible, the amount they came back from in that amount of time.
Well, I mean, good game.
See, mid-range jumper, that's good for Troy. But, like, throwing him the ball down in the low post and expecting him to, like, beat these tall people from West High. I just wish somehow this was in the Alley Cat Strike cinematic universe and it was East Apple and West Apple.
I understand. I understand that. So, when he's playing this game, they're also he's wearing a brace, like a leg brace.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a Zac Efron leg brace, or do you think that was
taping his fingers up?
That's true.
No, he did hurt his wrist during filming, but it was towards the end. I don't know. I think they were trying to kind of make it feel like it was a rough season for the Wildcats.
So yeah, this was a scene though where we're playing basketball and we're also singing, and there was a scene that was weird to me that was also weird to you, where she rises from.
What is that?
I don't know. She rises from this like cardboard cutout like sea of red, and just like she was almost like lifted out of it, and basically sings to his heart and helps him to win this game.
I think Kenny Ortega was, as the kids say or used to say, quote unquote, feeling himself during this movie, and was kind of making artistic decisions that make no sense. Like Zac Efron gets in an Inception hallway, like turning around in one of his dance scenes, and just these set pieces are not needed for High School Musical.
I have a theory about that, though, and here's my theory, is that there was like, you know what, Kenny? We're going to make that movie you want to make. We're going to finish off that Wildcat trilogy, but guess what? We're taking it to the big screen, and you're getting movie theater money.
Yeah.
And he's like, movie theater money? Now, I can work with that, because every musical scene in this is a dream sequence, like a fever dream. Every single one is like a fever dream, and the one in the treehouse where the treehouse is turning and the roof opens up, and the one where it's like all of the people on I guess Sharpay and Ryan going through and them being served by every other person in the taxi cab and all that. It's a lot of prop fever dream stuff that we didn't see in any of other movies, and I think it's because he had movie theater money.
I think you're right.
Okay.
That's a good call.
So anyway, they win the big game. Surprise, surprise. And then, we find out that Ryan is joined on as the Wildcat mascot. Did that shock you?
No, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. As a former mascot, I appreciate that Ryan was in there.
Here's the problem that I have with that, is that they were trying to make everybody part of it. Kind of like, when, I don't know, it didn't need to happen.
It felt like that a lot. It felt like, see, they try and kind of play it off that Gabriella is doing it, but it does feel like we're trying to get, everybody has to be doing everything the same. And it went from this real focus on Troy and Gabriella to this is an ensemble movie.
Yeah.
everybody's getting their time to shine.
Yeah, and it's now or never is what you're telling me.
Oh.
Is that see what I did there?
I do.
Yeah, this is the last time to get things right. It's now or never.
Like, can we just take a second right now and say, by far, this is the worst musically of all of them?
You know what? The songs to me sound very similar to the other two movies, but there isn't the memorable song necessarily like the other movies. Like when I was watching it, I was like, maybe I've heard these songs, maybe at a D23 Expo while we were waiting for something, but it's not the ones. They're not the ones that you know and love from High School Musical. That's really one and some of two.
Yeah.
And by the way, by the end of this, I would like to ask you, now that we will have reviewed all of them, what the best one is in your opinion. But don't spoil that now. Don't spoil that now. So they go to a party, and at the party, Kelsey and some other dude are DJing. And my question is, why are there two DJs?
It's Kelsey and Ryan, isn't it?
I don't think it's Kelsey and Ryan.
Oh, I thought it was Kelsey and Ryan. I don't know. They're just having a good time. I mean, it's a pretty expensive DJ setup. And how do their families of it is Ryan?
No, it's not. He's got a beard.
Yeah.
And Ryan was in the foreground.
How many of these families like afford these homes?
I don't know, especially because
high school basketball coach salary, and
right.
Gabriella's mom's in the service, correct?
That I can't recall. Sorry.
Yeah, and they have these giant McMansions that they live in.
And is this dude? You know more about basketball than I do. Is this dude like? I mean, a real college coach?
No,
okay, because he was as bad an actor as a real college coach, and
he was real bad.
That's what convinced me that he was a real college coach.
That is an NCAA violation right there. That is illegal recruiting, and it's not good. U of A is going to be sanctioned. Having
the coach over to a party, right? Let's talk about Rocket Man for a second.
My God, my favorite character.
What? Your favorite? Yeah. Oh my gosh! Please tell me why he's your favorite.
Troy Bolton. What a choice! I was like, I forgot a lot of this. So he comes in, I'm like, oh my God, he's wearing 41. He's literally Bizarro Troy, and it's clear that they're planting the seeds for like High School Musical: The Next Generation with Rocket Man and his tiny friend. But he's just hamming it up the entire time. The actor seems to be having a good time, and it's so silly and outlandish. I love it. Love me some Rocket Man.
Well, and that's my thing, is that he's hamming it up and whatever. But yeah, you're right. It is pretty obvious that it is Bizarro Troy Bolton. He's got the same haircut, and then even when they stand next to each other and you see that 14 and 41. Yeah. And the fact that he's a huge fanboy of Troy Bolton's is very it's very interesting. But that's what I thought too, is that this was the next generation. You had Rocket Man and his friend, and I was like, wait a minute, are they seeding us for a High School Musical 4? Yeah. Or
I was going to say a Disney Plus original series, but I guess that wasn't in their mind right then. Can we talk real quick? One of my favorite things from this version, the jerseys. What a huge upgrade. Those jerseys are really sharp. And then everybody had this like Lucha Libre hoodie that had the Wildcat on the sides. I thought that was the best thing. I would buy one of those right now.
Well, and part of that is that that they had, again, movie theater money, right?
Yeah. I really enjoyed I actually thought costuming wise, they knocked it out of the park with this one. I feel like they really did a good job. Like, those are good jerseys, good warm-ups. The cheerleading uniforms are tight. Very nicely done.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to say the cheerleading uniforms were tight. I don't think you're...
as a former cheerleader,
you need to check
also
yourself.
Every single one of these women are, at that point in time, in their mid-20s. So, like, I'm not being...
Are actually women. All of these women are actually women.
And adults. And I was saying they're tight, as in they're good-looking. I like them. Very nicely done. Clean, old school, good lines.
Okay. All right. If you're allowed to say it, then that's fine.
I mean, I can talk cheerleading uniforms all day if you want.
All right. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, so when you got a really good cheerleading uniform, you want one of two things. You want, like, really classic, you think of Stanford, you think of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, or you want something that's going to stand out I don't think you want to do anything with the midriff. I always went against doing that, even the little keyhole. I like when you get a lot of different lines and angles. I think that really makes uniforms pop a little bit. All right, so I can talk about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. You vamped pretty good, because we didn't, we didn't actually...
I mean, I have those ready to go at any point in time. We can talk about stunting next. That's what I need. I got to watch Zombies, because apparently that's a cheerleading decom.
No, I mean, I'm glad you gave me all that information. I want it all.
Stop it. You're hurting me with this. It's like every time you do it, it's like kryptonite. It's like,
I want it all. All right. So then Troy and Gabriella get up in the treehouse and sing to each other, like from like inches away, and that's where again it starts to get really weird. I think this was meant to be a romantic soar and fly in moment, but it was not to me. This was, I think you texted me at one point, you were like, this movie is so cheesy. It's so bad, Rob. And I'm thinking, was this the part where you decided it was so bad? Because it felt like it slowed down and you were like,
I think it's the prom song. I think that's what I texted you. I was like, this is so bad. And they're just leaning way too hard into innuendo. I like that they keep the Troy and Gabrielle can't kiss thing going. Every time it's about to happen. It's funny now. It's a bit, and I like it.
Why can't they kiss? Because it's G?
No, I think it started off as like, Disney stars don't kiss like that, and then it just became a thing where it's always interrupted.
Yeah. Well, and again, in this is that fever dream where like the whole roof opens up automatically, like he's pushed some garage door button so they can see the stars, and that's where that was the first place where I was like, this is a little fever dreamy. Actually, second. The first place was when she rose from the cardboard cutouts, but this one was a close second.
What is that? Because I've watched this before and zero recollection of that. Like all of a sudden, whoop.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So yeah, it was a little dream sequency, which then as things went on, I was thinking there's a lot of money going on here because of it being in the theaters. And then that was a very random song, cheesy moment thing that felt very forced. It was again, this is like we're us trying to rekindle that magic between Troy and Gabriella.
I think that you're right on point. Is it feels pre-planned out. It's almost like it has to hit the exact same notes as the other movie. It doesn't try to do anything. And as you said before, the music is just, it feels exactly the same. It doesn't feel like we did anything different with this version.
Yeah. So we're about 14 minutes into this when we finally see the Tiz. She finally makes her big entrance and, turns the heads, and she's wearing the pink, and everybody's fawning and fainting when she comes into the building. And again, we don't really even see her until she walks up the steps.
Was that Ben Platt? Real quick. That last person she passes, was that Ben Platt of
No.
Fame? It wasn't. It looked
this
like
dude
him.
right here. This is not.
That looks like Ben Platt.
I don't think
it's
that's
not.
Ben. No,
but it looked like him quickly.
No.
Yeah.
No, but there you go. But he also has a 9 and a 4 on his shirt. Why is that?
I think that was an Abercrombie shirt.
Okay.
It feels like an Abercrombie shirt.
Okay. All right. But yeah, Sharpay's making her entrance, so now the whole gang's been introduced. She's obviously they established that she's been oblivious to the fact that the big game happened, and she was like she's all checked out because she's I guess getting ready for her senior year. She's got those double pink lockers, Patrick. Didn't you say that those are still there?
Still there. Those lockers are still there. I do believe they use that high school again in High School Musical, the series. But I believe that school where they shot those lockers still exist. I don't know if it's a double locker, but they're still pink.
Yeah, well, they have to use that same school because the reason that they do High School Musical as a musical is because this is where the musical was shot, right? Yeah. And it needs to do High School Musical, the musical. So yeah, those double pink lockers are pretty cool. They open up each way, and what do they say at the top?
SE.
No,
Sharpay
below that.
Evans.
Yeah, Sharpay Evans.
Oh, I don't know.
They say Sharpay on one side and Evans on the other, where there would normally be numbers. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. I would hope that they still are intact to that level, that people still have that kind of respect. But again, this was 2006 that the original started. So, is there still that fandom? I know there's a nostalgia for people who grew up around this time because I talked to a coworker of mine and I was like, I said, is High School Musical 3 the best one? And she goes, it's really good. But again, we're not going to say which one she said was the best one. But it was, she definitely had opinions about it. And so I think that there was a generation that is now in their 20s that kind of grew up on High School Musical, the musical.
Well, let's go back to the last episode we did together, Rescue Rangers. That's aimed at people like us who have that nostalgia. I think that they were trying to capitalize on the market that was aging and building with this group. As their stars were getting older, so was their audience. So I think that's kind of where they were trying to hit with this. Get new fans and younger fans, but also the series feels like it's trying to grow up with its audience.
I have to say this, though. I'm looking in the chat, and Rosita says, I never cared for High School Musical, and I like musicals. I only watched this one for this show.
And we appreciate that.
Oh, I love that. I love it when people do the homework. That's great. Thank you so much, Rosita, for watching it. That's awesome. It was, but also, how did you jump in, Rosita, into episode 3 and not know about 1 and 2? That's troubling to me. You know what? I hope you watched our reviews. If not, afterwards, let's just roll the whole thing back for Rosita.
Yeah.
Let's just roll it back.
We'll do a commentary track on the first 2 Deep in the Plus episodes.
Yeah.
We'll talk over ourselves. It'll be great.
Alexandria said, I grew up on High School Musical, and I'm about to turn 30 this year. So, there you go. So again, there is a generation that this means something to, because it was a mania, and we talked about that when we talked about 1. It was a mania.
Yeah.
Everybody, there was High School Musical, everything. You're rocking a High School Musical shirt right now, aren't you?
I think I had to buy High School Musical, the series shirt, but yes, I did look into getting a Troy Bolton jersey because.
Oh my God, would have been so cute. You could have had the Troy Bolton, and I could have had the Rocket Man one, and we could have just been.
We done that.
Oh man, we totally screwed that
out of
up.
the many couples I've tried to have my wife do with me, she would not do High School Musical, nor would she do Dipper and Wendy from Gravity Falls. She's just, I don't know what I even got into this for.
Well, it would have been better to do Dipper and Wendy than Dipper and Mabel. So
correct.
That's a good call. That was a good call, at least to try it that way.
Yeah,
but
we don't want any Sharpay Ryan situation here.
No, that would not be fabulous. Yeah. So anyway, she comes into the school, and you just always wonder what she's up to. I mean, in High School Musical 2, again, no spoiler, sorry, Rosita, she tries to steal Gabriella's man, and in this one, it's like, well, what is she up to this time? In the first one, she was up to sabotaging their musical, and then the second one, she was trying to steal the man. What's this? What are you asking?
Is she after Troy in this one? That's what I was trying to figure out. It feels like it's kind of her B storyline. So her A storyline is to be as amazing and fabulous as possible, get over to Juilliard. Her B storyline is, maybe ruin Gabriella's life and be with Troy. I was like, B. Famous, ruin Gabriella's life, be with Troy.
I don't feel that way. I felt the opposite way, because I feel like she tried so hard to be with Troy in the second one that there should have been more residual, fawning over him in the third one. And there is a little bit of something in one of the dream sequency things when she portrays him as a needy super fan on his knees with a flower.
And she got to reject him.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a little bit of that, but in my opinion, not enough, because again, she spent all of 2 fawning over him and trying to get him,
and
then
really share a lot of scenes with Gabriella either, which is interesting, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but there should be residual, as we say in the wrestling business, heat between them. They should not be on good terms. I don't think we had a come to each other's summit. I think Gabriella has every reason to be mad at Sharpay.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about this assistant that she hires? So she puts her little thing on, and she's hiring for an assistant, and this girl shows up, and she's got she's British. She's got everything that Sharpay needs. She's got her latte for the morning, and she's already wearing she's already taken her bag and rearranging her books and all that. You knew something had to be up with this girl as she was jumping in to be her valet. She was a little too good.
I love watching these with my wife Shayna because she'll give me great stuff like this. Just reeks of single white female. It feels completely out of place in here. It's a borderline creepy.
Yeah, yeah. So Shayna gives you candor, is what you like. Yeah,
yeah.
Almost like honest trailers, but beside you on the couch.
Correct.
I like that. So they finish their business in the hallway. They go to class. Rocket Man, I think, gets in trouble because he's tardy, and for you, there's just never enough Rocket Man.
No, need more Rocket Man.
Yeah.
When he's not in the scene, everybody should be going, "Where's Rocket Man?"
Yeah, I mean, I do, but he's hanging out with Troy, trying to be just like Troy, only being nothing like Troy. That's why I think your Bizarro thing like kind of fits in, but he's doing the Troy hair. But I mean, he's definitely not as suave and cool, and he's trying too hard. And then, I don't know. I feel like his acting was a tick below par.
I agree.
Okay, just making sure. I know you're saying he's your favorite, but I think you're saying a little tongue-in-cheeky.
Yeah.
Speaking of acting, I have a problem here, and I don't remember if we talked about it in the first one, because the parents weren't as prevalent in the second one. So I think we may have talked in the first one. I think most of the adults, save for the drama teacher, are horrible actors.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, all right. 100%. Just making sure I wasn't off base on that. I just think the kids are so good. And I say kids because, again, we're like, they're like in their 30s at this point. But the adults in this are so bad.
Real bad. His dad is the worst. He can't even, I just recently went and saw Top Gun Maverick. And the acting that John Hamm can do with just his face is amazing. And Troy's dad manages to somehow convey negative emotion with his face. He's just...
So he's... Yeah. No, I get it. But it's just not... It's not good. And also, in this one, he looks like he has a bad dye job.
See, I thought there was something off to me. It could be that. It felt like he was trying to look like Thomas Hayden Church all of a sudden.
Thomas Hayden Church? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I was going back to look for a little bit of dad here and see, but I just really thought that the hair looked like it was a bad dye job, but I don't know. He looks fine. He looks fine to me, but again, I don't know. I don't know what was wrong. It was so bad that it stuck out to me. Even her mom, Gabriella's mom, when she comes out, she was like, "Oh, am I interrupting something?" Line? I mean, it just didn't seem natural, right?
And it's really funny how Troy rebounds from that, and I don't know if it was Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens kind of vamping, or if it was really written, and he goes, "No, homework." And then she gets up to go do homework. He's like, "Wait, I was joking."
Yeah.
I thought it was really cute.
By the way, in the chat, they said Patrick went to the danger zone.
Yeah.
Nico's got the jokes.
Yeah, you gotta go see that on the largest screen you possibly can for our non-Disney Plus plug. It's amazing. It's legitimately a good movie.
And Arch Fox says it's not the danger zone without Archer. And yeah, I mean that TV show changed the existence of Kenny Loggins in general. I feel like. So go watch Archer. Not on Disney Plus, but there you go.
Maybe one day. It is owned by Disney.
So. True.
Yeah.
Phrasing. So now I'm looking through this, and they're in the homeroom, and their homeroom is the drama class for some strange reason that they all happen to have the drama class as their homeroom, probably just for convenience to gather them all together. It's the first time we're really seeing Taylor. We've already seen Zeke and Chad because they've been on the team for the big game. A couple of the others. This is the first time we're kind of seeing everybody together, and they're going over all of their plans and decide that they're going to who's going to sign up for the summer musical. And it's an interesting little scene where Kelsey is so combative with Sharpay that when Sharpay suggests that because there aren't a lot of signups that she should do a one-woman show, Kelsey all of a sudden signs the entire class up for the musical. Is that, or the musicale? Is that bad?
No, because I think she is trying to get her way to Juilliard, and every time she makes an arrangement, Ryan and Sharpay rearrange it, and it's really weird to be writing love songs for siblings. So she
What?
wants to have people with actual chemistry together. And by the way, it's still like a high school senior writing complete musicals is baffling to me.
Yes. No, there's a lot of that.
She shouldn't have to apply to Juilliard. They should just let her in. She's composing full musicals.
Yeah. Well, this is where they're all mad at her, but again, then instead of just being mad at her, they just go ahead and do it. They just decide, yeah, we'll do the musical, and the musical is going to be about you. And Chad's like, me? Yeah, and then now I'm a little confused at that point. Why about Chad? Oh, it's about you as in the royal you. It's about all of you in your senior year. Bum, bum, bum. Yep, so now the rest of the thing is supposed to be
meta.
Yeah.
Too meta.
Yeah.
No need for that.
But it was very interesting that like the whole thing is supposed to be about this musical, but most of the episode or the installment doesn't feel like it's about the musical. It's about Troy and Gabriella's relationship and things coming to an end for them and the futures that are set for them that they don't want.
Well, let's be serious. Those are the stars. And Ashley Tisdale to a lesser degree, but Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron are your stars, and that's who it should be about.
I thought you were about to put down the Tiz. All right, cool.
No,
all right, just making
I'm
sure.
a huge fan of Ashley Tisdale, and especially as she's grown up. She's really been an interesting person to follow on social media. She has a lot of really great ideas. She talks very openly about her rhinoplasties and what led to it. I just find her to be very interesting in addition to being maddeningly attractive and have a voice like an angel.
Yeah. Okay. So as they move through, Troy is taking Gabriella to the prom because that's the thing you do in your senior year, and then Chad is going to ask Taylor, but she's like, "Oh, you have to do it right," and so they make.
Is this the start of promposals? Is this like what kicked that off, or was that already going on?
Well, he didn't really do a promposal so much as he made a spectacle of himself. He didn't really do a huge thing. Like I almost expected there to be. But I almost expected there to be a musical number there, and there wasn't, because they had the high school tables, they had the cafeteria, and I thought that's where the musical number was coming. And instead, they made the musical number this fever dream of Ryan and Sharpay going to be superstars their senior year, and can't they all see it? So, which is right after he does that promposal, ish, if you want to call it that. So it's like,
is this where it started? Are they the ones that made this trend? Because I'm pretty sure that I am going to hold High School Musical responsible for Glee.
No, that's for sure. Absolutely, I would think Glee. But this again, fever dream that she has where Troy is a super fan, and all these other things are happening. Again, not something we saw in the first two. We didn't see a lot of this. I don't know what you call it. What do you call that when it's just like props and things change and
set pieces? They're called set pieces.
Okay.
So they're big set pieces. They're a lot bigger. Like we had a couple set pieces here and there into like the big pool scene with Fabulous, the angry rap dance with the golf course.
But even those two things, they were these showstopper numbers, but it wasn't like everyone pretending to be something they weren't, and props and like these things that didn't exist. Like I guess we're supposed to believe that maybe this stuff was happening within the musical they're practicing for because of it being sort of sets and stuff, but it again, it feels like this is a very different piece where Kenny Ortega was given a bunch of money and he's like, let me just spend it on sets.
Yeah, and I think it's when you give a TV person movie money, and that's kind of what happens. What I feel like you're saying without saying it, and if I'm putting words into your mouth that aren't true, let me know, is that it doesn't feel like it's living in the same world as the other two High School Musicals.
Yeah, I think you're right. But again, I keep calling it a fever dream, but it's this thing where they're not actually doing the thing. It's like a cutaway from the reality of what we're seeing. It's just not. It's not the same. Rosita said filler scene. It is. But it's just it's not part of the story. I mean, I guess they're show-stopping numbers. Also, I have a weird thing about the fact that Vanessa Hudgens is dressed here as a French maid. Like, I don't know. There was something weird about that, right?
It felt like fetishizing a child because she's playing a child at that point in time, even though she's a grown woman. So it felt like it was hitting the wrong notes.
And then there's whatever outfit that Sharpay is wearing here. Like that seems
okay. So she's like trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Channel other pop divas, because I feel like a lot of her outfits were kind of matching with some other pop divas. That felt very Madonna. So I think she was trying to channel her inner diva and match up with some of the great divas of history.
Okay. Well, and so here's where you see it. Like, there's this huge, show set with them in costumes and all the scenery and everything, and then they cut away, and here's back to reality. And here's back to reality.
That was really good. I really liked that a lot. It was such a good thing, and Ryan and Sharpay and everything made me laugh real hard.
You know what? Arch Fox, I don't know where you get him. I don't know where you get him, but he just said for the French maid thing, it made the scene. Made the scene.
Puns are the lowest form of humor.
It made the scene.
You should have another one in there. Worst joke of the night.
Yeah, I guess we could. Let's see. We're not doing that one apparently. Anyway,
That's fine.
So now they go back to school. We're like, we were in school then, but then they cut back to like Gabriella, and we don't see a lot of them. And I wonder, is it because, and you mentioned it was Sharpay, that Sharpay and Gabriella don't have a lot of scenes together. Do you think that without us really paying attention, and they did this on Scrubs in the later years, where where the stars were asking for too much money, and so what they did was they used them more sparingly, and so you wouldn't see all the stars in the same one. I feel like there aren't as many scenes of the group together in this one, and maybe just a little bit of each one of them here and there, so they could have shot them all separately, so maybe they didn't pay them as much.
Well,
what do you think was going on?
Did miss 3 weeks of filming. He was filming Orson Welles and Me, I believe. I don't know. I feel like that's leaning too much into it. I think what they're trying to show is that they're all separate, and I think that's why when they get that curtain call moment at the end and they're all together, and you get the very soft, quiet, low, together forever, that you're supposed to feel like, oh, hey, they're back together even though they're going their separate ways. That's me giving Kenny Ortega way too much credit as a filmmaker. I don't know. Maybe everybody else had busy schedules, because I know Zac Efron was picking up here. Vanessa Hudgens really her career doesn't take off until a little bit later on. Like, I feel like in the past maybe 5 years or so, she's had a career resurgence.
Okay. You know what? She was in Powerless, though. Did you ever see Powerless?
Yes, and I loved Powerless.
I did too.
Like,
Ron Funches, Danny Pudi, and Vanessa Hudgens, and Alan Tudyk.
Yeah,
great show. Yeah, I actually went back and
seasons.
I went back and rewatched the first episode, and you know what's funny about that is it kind of follows along the line of something they. This is a pause in this one.
Take a 30-second timeout, make it full.
Yeah, timeout. It is that in Marvel they were talking about doing a TV show called Department of Damage Control, which they talk about a lot in Spider-Man, and now it's kind of bled into Ms. Marvel. It's a big thing at Avengers Campus, Department of Damage Control, and it was going to be like sort of a half-hour sitcom of all the people who have to deal with all the aftermath of all the destruction that the heroes cause. And that's kind of what Powerless was. It was a DC version of that, where it was the superheroes and all the things they do that affect the common man, and these folks were in charge of R&D to come up with things that would protect the common man that was powerless from the supers. And
I was hoping eventually, like, Vanessa Hudgens had superpowers. That's what I hope that series was leading to.
Yeah, and then Alan Tudyk's cousin was Bruce Wayne. So that was
it was
a
funny. Really good show. Go watch that. But yeah, and then Vanessa Hudgens, like, recently has been getting a ton of roles. She's fantastic in a supporting role in Bad Boys Forever, or whatever, Bad Boys for Life. That's it.
The girl. Let's go back to okay. Time in. The girl who was the Mr. Belvedere to Sharpay.
Nothing afterwards. Nothing.
The character's name was Tierra Gold, and I'm not sure I knew that was her name. And I guess we would have had we would have known a little better if that was the case. But they try to pair her together with the Rocket in a couple of different scenes. Yeah. And in one of the scenes, there is this line that it took me by surprise, and I had to come back and write it down for this moment. Are you ready? She says,
ready.
I wouldn't eat you even if I was starving and you were the last pickle at the picnic.
Yeah. Which felt like a very Southern thing for a supposedly English person to say.
It feels disturbing on so many levels that I was just like, can we slap a PG on this thing?
All right, I'm going to go one more time. I kind of like their will they, won't they, Sam and Diane chemistry there. I thought it was really cute. I was getting myself aboard for High School Musical The Next Generation. I was ready. I'm like, all right, I'll see these kids with Ashley Tisdale popping in to wreak havoc because she's going to be the drama professor, well, the drama assistant while she's on away from school.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, they're dragging you in the chat. If Patrick doesn't like dad jokes, is he a real dad?
Oh, yes.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Anyway, so back to this. There's this big rooftop scene that Troy and Gabriella do, which is, again, it's a little, a little notebooky for me with them dancing in the rain and...
the weird moment where she talks about she used to waltz with her father, I was like, it doesn't quite fit here. It felt off, and yes, very, very Nicholas Sparks.
Yeah, exactly. They were trying to put everything that they had in this movie. It was the last big one, So
I mean, they put everything they have in this movie. This movie is entirely too long for no reason.
That's the other thing too. Is when you said it's time for us to watch this, and I went okay, and then the other night I was like, I got to sit back down and rewatch this movie, and I was like, oh, it's a decom, it's only going to be 90 minutes, and I forgot that it was from the theater, and it was 2 hours and 2 minutes. I was like, why for some reason did that seem too long?
So long. No need. You could have cut a half hour out of this and made a better movie, and made bigger set pieces and blow your budget on some more fun stuff versus just stretching it out painfully long.
Yeah. Speaking of painful, why did I have to look at the Rocket for this long without his shirt on?
All right. So, a lot of times we talk about revisiting things under a 2022 lens. And, not okay. Not okay to take people's clothes and make them run through the school. That was kind of... You mentioned that there were several cringe moments, and that was definitely one of them.
Well, and it was too long, right? I mean, they ran all the way through the school, and what
you do in that situation is you close the locker and you leave them there with their clothes right out of reach.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, rather than having them chase them through the girls' volleyball, and then Vanessa Hudgens gets really excited, and goes, "Oh, yearbook moment." And everybody's in on it, and nobody really gives these guys a hard time for basically bullying these two kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not a 1980 something movie. This was 2008. Be better. Be better.
Not good.
Also, the creepy way that the drama teacher was kind of walking around them as if she was
she was straight up leering. And then gave him the tension for what? Being in towels?
Yeah, and she just is like, let me lick you up and down. Look, okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit weird. I don't know. I could have done without that scene. You were talking about it being too long. Cut that out. Cut it out. Yeah, get it out of there. Just walk away.
Stop it. Oh, when you reference the songs, it makes them worse somehow, and they're already bad.
I love it. I love it. You know what though? Troy's truck. That was a nice little touch. I mean, it was very, I don't know. There's something about Troy's truck that it was like,
I think
okay,
they were
that's
trying
cool.
to give him more. You know, they wanted something Zac Efron could kind of like latch onto, and then they do that ridiculous scene in the junkyard.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Let's talk about
The boys are back.
The Boys Are Back. Actually, before we talk about The Boys Are Back, one thing I wanted to talk about was, do you think that that Taylor's outfit looks a little too Velma? Like it almost
God!
They almost looked like Velma or
Yes.
or Velma and Daphne together, but it looked very Velma.
I never put
thought
that together.
Not just the orange, but the whole thing had that vibe to it. So
I
sorry.
have to add a reference to one of my favorite shows here. So Taylor eventually ends up going to Yale. The actress, Monique Coleman, was in an episode of Gilmore Girls playing a Yale student talking to Rory.
Okay.
Yeah. I will always bring the Gilmore Girls into it if I can.
Yeah. Well, and then there's your 30 or 40-year-old Chad. So
no. Corbin Blues, it looks very old in this.
Yeah. But yeah, when they go to the junkyard and they do this weird, like, it was almost like if Kevin Bacon had a partner in Footloose when he did his thing, where they go out and they do this huge musical number, like boys do, like fellas do. I don't know why you and I have never done this. Just gone to a junkyard and just danced.
We should have
let
done it when
go.
we were at Splitsville. We should have
Yes.
done like a coordinated. Yeah, that would.
Only you had way too much seafood to eat, I think. I don't remember.
I did have way too much seafood to eat.
Yeah.
My family decided that me eating all the seafood was the best birthday present. All right, so I want to take this scene in a bubble because this scene is fantastic. It's silly. There's fun dancing. You have two people who are very, very good at dancing. But it's like, is it Cats? Is it Stomp the Yard? Is it Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk? Is it, Blue Man Group? Why do they turn into children at one point in time? What is happening? But I enjoyed out of all the songs, I think this one might be my favorite. And I think that this scene is really fun, but it does not fit in the movie at all.
Yeah, the scene where they climb under the car and they come out on the other side.
What is this? What happened?
Yeah, I don't.
What's going on?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of weirdness, and again, this goes back to the thing I was talking about, where it's not just like that they're taking you out of the moment, but they're just taking you on some weird fever dream. And in this one specifically, they just it's just the two of them after dark in a junkyard that seems to have a lot of space for dancing. Because if my experience at junkyards is they don't have a lot of extra space around. Like that's they just do
I
what
don't
they're gonna
have that much experience at junkyards. I think I go to the counter and I ask for a part, and they either have it or they don't. I don't know if I've ever been in one.
Yeah. Well, and then not only is there all of the lighting and the the extra dancers that come from nowhere. But, again, this was Kenny Ortega going, I've got movie budget. Let me take this as big as I possibly can. But then, when the whole thing ends and it's just them like standing there like this, like, yeah. Like, I guess in a way this is their final scene in this thing. This is this huge thing that these characters, these actors have been a part of. They get this final big moment. Interesting.
Bringing that around, it seemed like they all went through something together, and the 10-year anniversary, they all got together. I feel like stuff like this has to bond you. And, you hear about all the Lord of the Rings people get their matching tattoos, and who knows how long the MCU and the originals are going to go on for. But, we're talking about a decade plus. I know that there was some romantic relationships, but there's something, like, I hope this cast is all friends. Is that a normal thing?
They all except for Zach, they all came back for the sing along that they did, the Disney sing along, where
he was out of the country, I believe.
Okay.
He was doing his show on Netflix, which, by the way, I think I might have referenced it the other times we talked about High School Musical. Yeah. Check out Zac Efron's show on Netflix. It's really good. I hope he gets another season. It was really entertaining.
So in chat, Dawn said my legit favorite number.
Yeah. It's a good number.
Yeah, and then she may not be talking about this though, but I may be reading out of context. Alexandria says, on my very first trip to Disney World in '08, Corbin was on our plane and took pics with all the kids.
Aw.
Just the sweetest guy. So in '08, that would have been this movie. So that's,
yeah, it would have
that's
been
kind of
around
a big
this
deal.
movie.
And then Lauren says, Patrick just looked it up. Corbin Bleu
I know,
was born in 1989.
But he looks so old in this. So he's not that old in this film, but he looks so much older than everyone else.
Well, I mean, more mature.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a weird scene. Like, again, I don't hate the scene because, like you said, the music, I like the song. The dance stuff is fun, but it just seems weird. Like all the rest of those like scenes, because this would have been something that they just would have done. If they had just done this in the school, dancing through the halls or something like that, that would have been one thing. But
it's
the
like
fact
I
that
don't dance, but
I can't dance. You remember that song?
No. Yeah, I didn't remember that song.
All right,
it's not great.
So then Ryan and Kelsey, what's going on there? I feel like in this one they were trying to ship them. Am I wrong on that? No.
It feels like everybody needed to be in a heteronormative pair. And like that's just kind of where it was. We've talked before that Ryan is kind of coded as gay, but never comes out as such. And he, I think they make a really sweet, cute couple. Going to Juilliard together, choreographer and composer, make a great team. Again,
could have been a spinoff. Like, where could this have gone? Like, I feel like they stopped this IP too early. They could have done a spinoff with them. They could have done, they go to college. They could have. I guess were they
what would
trying?
High School Musical the college years look like?
Were they trying to do this? Go ahead.
U of A with Chad and
just Chad.
Sharpay.
Oh, did
Sharpay was U of A too?
Oh, okay. Might be.
So that'd be interesting. I wonder if they were trying to set them up for multiple avenues, and then everybody was just kind of like, "We're done with that now."
Yeah, maybe. Hey, so this is the time in the show that I will say again, if you haven't already, please give us a like. It helps people to find us. If you have not subscribed to this channel, we are actually evolving into a new channel, and I have a commercial to that effect.
What?
It's time to adjust that set and turn that dial to WDWNT TV, our new channel where some of your favorite programming from the WDW News Today YouTube channel is heading. If you want to continue to see Boxed In on Fridays, Park Center on Sundays, and as well our Thursday night comedy variety show WDW News Tonight, you'll have to catch them at their new home, WDWNT TV. It's easy to subscribe. Just put in the URL, wdwnt.tv, hit subscribe, and make sure you get those notifications. Again, is the only way you'll be able to continue to see these great shows as they are moving away from the WDW News Today channel permanently. We hope to see you over there at our new home, WDWNT TV.
So we got a lot of stuff coming over here and to the formerly known as Unplanned Downtime, so please make sure, tell all your friends, like and subscribe. We have big plans for this channel. So
we now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, so now I would like to hit you up with some trivia, if you don't mind.
Oh, man.
You thought we were going to get through this because we're almost done. You thought we were going to get through this without trivia.
Super hopeful.
It's fine. They're all easy because you're such a Wildcat fan, it really won't matter. So in the beginning, when they're in the locker room, and there's one kid that has a paw print on the back of his head. It says his name on the back of his jersey at that time. What's the name on the back of his jersey?
Is that Cross? Is that Jason Cross?
No.
Because Jason kind of dips in and out of this movie, and Shayna.
Jason. No, I'm going to put this out there. Jason is the Zeke of this movie.
Yeah.
Because they kind of vaguely refer to Zeke in the first one, and then the second one he becomes more of a character.
Yeah.
Shayna was saying
what? Just like, Jason graduated. Great job, Jason.
Yep. Shayna was what?
Shayna was asking if he was in the other ones. I'm like, yeah, he was the kid in 2 that really liked to eat. That was his thing, is he enjoyed eating.
Yeah. Richards. It says Richards right across his back. There was a couple times where they zeroed in on him. When they're in the treehouse, Troy has on a weird, almost like a gas station attendant shirt, and it's got a patch on the sleeve. and it's 2 letters and 2 numbers. Do you know what the 2 letters and 2 numbers are?
No, I have no idea. I didn't even notice that. I thought you were going to ask about Robo Rob. Is that it, the toy? Robo Rob?
Yeah, Robo Rob. That I thought about it. It seemed too on the nose, so I didn't do it. It said TR53, and here's why I find that interesting. As you are the Herbie guy, is 53 is Herbie's number.
Bug.
I don't know that they did that on purpose, but there you go. This one should be easy for you. When they're in the classroom and Taylor's making her big speech and she's talking about all these things that she knows about, Chad goes, "Oh yeah? What's the lunch special today?" What's the lunch special?
New York Deli.
See? I knew you would know that one, because then again they come back to it over and over, and they even they really lean into it. It was on the Big
Apple Parfait.
Yeah, the Big Apple the Big Apple Parfait. I love the Big Apple Parfait. When Kelsey when it starts out and she's signing everybody up for the classes and that, she's got a jacket on and you can see a T-shirt underneath in big letters that says what?
New York?
No.
Was it a band T-shirt?
It kind of looked like a band T-shirt.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a band T-shirt.
Okay. Because they wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. It said bonjour, but the way that her jacket was covered a little bit, it could have looked like Bon Jovi. So, when Gabriella got off her school bus, before Troy called her up to the rooftop for their little meeting. What's the number of the school bus? You always make fun of the fact that I pull out numbers all the time.
It's like he's not gonna do numbers. He's not gonna do numbers this time. 1138.
84. Speaking of numbers, when she looked up at Troy, you can see the clock. Almost looks like the clock tower from Back to the Future at that moment where she's up there. What time is it? And don't say time of our lives.
I was going to say game time. 3 o'clock.
7:45. She's just getting to school, dude. 7:45.
I thought it was when she was coming home from school.
No. What was the name of the auto salvage where they had their big dance?
Bobby's Auto Salvage.
Riley's Auto Salvage. And they went through, I mean, you saw it on the sign as they drove through, and then I think he had it on his T-shirt also when they got through.
Yep,
yeah,
he did.
One last thing that they show him sneaking into her bedroom a lot. Which,
uncomfortable.
Again,
it's like
it's almost too much and too easy for him to get into her bedroom without mom knowing constantly that he's in her bedroom. And when he goes into her bedroom, we see her bedroom a lot. There's a word on her wall. It's where her headboard would be, but it's like there's a nightstand and then a table, and then there's a word on her wall. Do you know what that word is?
All right, so I need to talk to you about how my thought process in this works out. Being from the New Haven area in Connecticut, if there's pizza in a scene, I need to look at the pizza and see if it's edible. So I was very focused on the pizza. I have no idea what that says.
Okay. And was the pizza edible?
I don't recall seeing much. I saw the crust at the end. I'm like, those crusts are too thick. I was going to say dream or inspire.
Yeah.
Gabriella would have a Live, Laugh, Love poster up in her house right now.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. She'd get the good candles. She'd get Yankee candles. She's not buying Walmart candles, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Candle shaming people now. That's what I do.
Why would you do that? You're so mean.
Are we done with trivia? Because I feel horrible.
You're like, did I even watch this movie? What's going on? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's not. I
definitely watched this movie. I definitely spent 2 hours of my life watching this movie.
2 hours and 2 minutes.
Nope. 2 hours, a hard stop. It hit 2 hours. I'm like, that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. So, again, so overall, then for the rest I guess after this is like Act 3 because, we find out that Gabriella has gotten into this honors program, which means she won't be able to do the play, which then Sharpay pours gasoline on that fire by telling Troy, well, she's probably not going to do it, but because of you, so he sneaks into her room again with that pizza to convince her that she needs to go, and
This is one of my least favorite tropes in any sort of romantic movie. Something that would be simply solved by communicating with your partner. Like, it just feels like whenever you're withholding stuff, it seems like a short way to get tension in a scene, and it doesn't feel authentic. It just feels forced.
Yeah. I don't disagree. When they were trying to figure everything out, they sing the song Right Here and Right Now, where it's like this. I in my notes I called it "Sad Treehouse Song," because he's in his treehouse and she's on her porch.
It's very Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, exactly. So I called it "Sad Treehouse Song," but
Not a good song.
No, it's not, and it's again one of those where it feels like a forced moment where they're kind of trying to come to grips with everything. They want to be with each other, and she doesn't want to give up her schooling because she wants to be with him, and he doesn't necessarily want to go to U of A and do basketball because maybe he's feeling the drama thing a little more than he's feeling the basketball thing. Which isn't that his journey throughout this whole series? Is the whole basketball, the life he's known versus the performing the life that he has been exposed to.
And I think this is why I'm like, oh my God, it took me this long to figure it out. But High School Musical really begets Glee because the late Corey Finn in Glee is the football person who is trying to find his way and through theater and all that. So yeah, I think it's his journey, and I think it comes to, in my mind, a satisfactory end for the character. I feel like the choices are authentic to the character. It's nothing forced. Listen, be multifaceted in life. Two things can be true. Like, I was a professional wrestler and a cheerleader at the same time. Have different dimensions. I think it makes you a well-rounded human being.
Yeah. Okay. And, to kind of put an exclamation point on this moment, this happens.
This is insane. This scene is crazy. This whole situation, it's very much like, oh my God, what's the song from 2?
Well,
Go
is...
back.
What?
Go back. This is literally the rig from Inception. I don't think it's literally, but I mean, this is what they did in Inception with the hotel hallway spinning. Like, why? Just because you can?
Got that theater money. Got that theater money, fella. You got that theater money,
Man. And what was the song that I always call his angry, like, rap dance song? That he
the one from the golf course, right? That's what this moment reminded me of. This was his golf course moment for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but when he's going through, it just feels like the same thing where he's like, he's like running through and he's like, kicking things and stomping things and doing his march and
attacking
yeah, and then he's got that sign for Juilliard up there where it just shows like, oh, he's really struggling. Is it Juilliard or is it basketball? He's being overly dramatic, so the answer is Juilliard. Just putting that out there.
I like where your head's at with that one.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, did you like that one?
He's a bit dramatic through this whole series. He has very, very, like, I guess, man, thinking back to being a high school student, yeah, that happens. That happens, right? You just get, like, the end of the world's happening because of one thing. It's, I don't think we give kids enough credit for getting through their teenage years. It ain't easy.
Yeah, I guess so. I look at, he's struggling because, again, he's got a full ride to U of A. Dad wants U of A. Everybody expects U of A. Chad wants U of A. And he's like, but Juilliard, this thing that I never knew that I wanted at the beginning of the movie is now the thing that I want more than ever, and I'm struggling to make that decision. So,
and a teacher putting you up for a scholarship without your knowledge, that doesn't seem great. Like, okay, I get it, but...
Yeah, she was already on thin ice with the whole, like, staring the kids down.
Staring
and now,
at children, now she's trying to... putting a personal note on it, when I was in high school, I really wanted to go to school in Philadelphia. My track coach, and he was also my debate team moderator, wanted me to go to his alma mater of Villanova. And I swear, if he would have put in an application for me there. But, it's not her decision to make.
Yeah. Jordan says in chat, by the way, going backwards to what we were talking about with this, got that NSYNC money. The Boys Are Back sounded to me like an NSYNC song.
Yeah. I mean,
that was just something I was thinking of. Yeah.
All right.
Backstreet. No, but it sounded like an NSYNC song specifically to me when I heard it.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I can hear it.
Not just a boy band generic thing, but anyway.
Like Four Town.
Yeah, like Four Town.
God,
Exactly.
Four Town.
Everybody loves Four Town. Yeah.
Everybody loves Four Town.
Everybody loves Four Town. One of the things too is that there's a scene that if I get to go back and edit, like take this scene out. This scene means nothing. I feel like because like you don't really have a lot of interaction with his mom, and then all of a sudden
so many adults.
Yeah.
So many adults in this scene.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems a little weird. Also, the fact that
stretch it. They're trying to make it meter length.
So at this point, Gabriella is like, "Oh, you know what? I don't really think I'm coming back because it'll be too hard to come back and then do all the things that I've dreamed for doing in my high school year, like prom and this musical and saying goodbye and having graduation. So I'm just never coming back. Cool, bye." You don't do that. You don't leave for college orientation.
No.
Yeah, you don't leave for college orientation and give up everything that you've worked for in your high school career. Like, again, the musical maybe, but your graduation and your prom, you don't just skip those if it's too hard.
There are plenty of programs that do like early admission, and if you get an extra semester early in college, especially if you're looking like Gabriella's going pre-law, every single step up she can get is closer to, being a professional and starting to pay off that crippling student loan debt. But like, I went on work study. I did not go to high school the last half of my senior year of high school. I went to work study and worked in a school. I had friends who left high school after the first semester of senior year and went into collegiate programs. So this does happen. This isn't like a Disney thing. I think she is trying to disconnect because it's too hard. I mean, I don't know what your situation was like, but I know I left a significant other when I went away to school, and I remember how tough that was, and it was easier to just kind of out of sight, out of mind, focus on the new thing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll shut up then.
You don't have to shut up. This is what makes our show great. Not our show. It's your show. I'm just here.
This is our show. When you and I are here, it's our show. I see you, Patrick. I see you.
No, we talked.
No,
we talked about this.
I know. We had to report to HR on that one.
We should go see the new Avatar movies in the theater because I will not believe they're actually going to happen until they're legitimately in a theater in front of me.
I think we're going to go see Avatar 2, and it's just going to be Avatar 1 again. That's all it's going to be. They're just going to put a 2 on.
Please don't do that when I'm taking a sip. Oh, that was tough.
There's a lot of forced dramatic moments as we get closer to the end. Hand on the shoulder. Talk about a trope. Come on, man. I don't know. But anyway, so
they were tiptoeing into after school special at times.
Yeah, exactly. So then Troy goes to, he's like, I'm going to my prom, but it's not really his prom. He's actually going to dance with Gabriella.
All right. I really liked this. Like a lot.
What particular did you
really
like?
Sweet. I don't know. It felt just so very sweet and, you're my prom kind of thing. And the song was good. It's one of the better songs, but this hit the right chords for me. It felt right for the characters, too. I will say
that I think they did a good job with the tree as the centerpiece. This is where the fever dream actually makes sense to me, is that they go out and then they come back down, and it's in the gym where the prom's happening, but also the tree is in the middle. And I think that's where the fever dream works, is like that kind of a set thing.
I agree. I think that one works really well.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy over the top, but it was there. Yeah. So it was a sweet moment. I do think it's interesting that in all of his tuxedo fittings, Chad has his number and his name on his back of his tuxedo.
I did not notice that. That's amazing.
What?
I was really paying attention to the fashions, too. Did you notice when they went Dumb and Dumber with it? When, I believe, Troy had the blue, and I think it was Chad had the orange, or one of the other guys had the orange, the same tux from Dumb and Dumber.
I did not notice that. But when they switch partners...
I actually really liked Chad's plaid one when he came out in the plaid. I thought that was good. I had no idea. I did not pay attention to that.
You didn't see that?
No.
Wow.
I think I was just in the moment.
But they did that when he asked Taylor earlier in the movie to go to the prom, and then they do that cut scene where they're all getting like fitted for tuxes, but it's really like a scene from
Yeah, that bothered me because it did actually confuse me.
But when
I
that
was like,
happened,
this is the shopping montage. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
it's part of the play?
yeah, exactly. And then they call it, and in that particular case, the set and the scene were part of the story because that was on stage at the play, but yet most of these were not, right? So he goes back and he talks to Gabriella, and they're going to dance, and then he's at school with her, and so now he's going to miss the play. And Rocket Man has to fill in, but Sharpay has had it all set up the whole time where she was going to be dancing with Troy or doing her scene with Troy, and then Rocket Man shows up in the most awkward of scenes.
It is very uncomfortable. It feels almost as if Ashley Tisdale is like, this small child should not be on set with me.
Yeah, exactly. And he's dressed like I feel like he's dressed like Steven Tyler.
He does give off a very oh my god, what's his name? He's super famous now.
Kid Rock.
He was on Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, very Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Third Rock from the Sun vibe there.
Yeah.
And that is in the wrestling business what we call going to business for yourself, where he's just there to make it all about Rocket Man. And see, you're already setting up that he needs to be brought down a peg, and so maybe he gets a nice down-to-earth girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Live your life, Rocket Man. And that could have been the storyline there. I'm helping Kenny Ortega out. I'm stretching out his stories.
And then here's your single white female moment where where she's taken over now and she's going to be Sharpay for the next thing and filling in for her, and she's dressed in her dress, and then I don't know. That whole storyline didn't need to exist for me, and maybe it's just because Sharpay needed a bigger storyline, but that whole thing did not need to exist for me. Again, totally. give me a chance to go back to the editing room and make this the 90-minute movie it was designed or it needed to be, it wanted to be.
I think the real story in Sharpay's storyline is the conflict between her and Ryan, and I think she really needs to have a moment to appreciate her brother and everything that he's done and is able to do, instead of just kind of kicking him to the side.
Yeah. No, I agree. There was not a lot of Ryan and Sharpay in this one, and that's why I was like, they kind of pair him with Kelsey and his own thing. Also, this, where she reaches over to turn off the light, how is the light connected from the door to... I'm so confused. I don't even know why all that works.
That's another thing I didn't pick up on. I feel like she should have did like one of Sharpay's vocal warm-ups to her to kind of did like the ma.
Yeah. By the way, Rosita said, how could you not have noticed that? I think she was meaning that how could you not have noticed the Danforth on the back of the thing? Because that was not the first time they did that.
It's crazy what I pick up on when I'm watching stuff. Like, I've really noticed a lot of Troy's colors don't match the school colors unless he's in uniform. And a lot of times you do see like everybody else wearing red and white, and he's kind of keeping himself in a different color scheme.
Yeah. Well, and he really showed up to be part of the show in that one, didn't he? Yeah, there's a lot of scenes again, like you said, where they get really close to kissing and they never get that kiss.
It's a bit, and it's funny at this point in time, I think.
By the way, it bothered me when they're doing this final musical, when things would happen on stage and the entire audience would jump up and cheer like it was the NBA Finals and the winning basket was made. And it was just like, never have I seen a crowd like that.
No one's getting that.
Any situation. Yeah, exactly. But like in any situation, it's just weird.
My daughter was about to start dance, and I was like, dance is fine. But dear Lord, please don't let her get into theater, because kids acting is the worst. It's just the worst. And nobody in there is going to stand up and give your classmates a standing ovation for something like that, especially in high school. It was too over the top.
Speaking of over the top.
Yeah.
Not necessary. Didn't need to happen. Let's cut that one out too. Cut it out. Anyway.
Dave Coulier residuals after this.
I do. So after this, they do the whole graduation. Apparently, was part of the play they were actually supposed to have graduation. Yeah, and what about every other poor kid who wasn't in the play didn't?
Just the stars.
Yeah,
it's like on Saved by the Bell. All right, we have this school of roughly 300 kids, but only these 4 matter.
Yeah. But I mean, they had second graduation, but it was like this really weird graduation scene where they're all on stage, and that's the first time that Chad finds out that he's not going to U of A with him, and then he has to chase him down and have his moment with Chad and fix that, his moment with his dad and fix that, and then we're all done. So
all right, but the moment with Chad is like that's another thread that we left there where all right, let's see what happens. Even if you just do like the Rocky, what's that? Rocky 2? Rocky 3? Where you just have the tip-off between Chad and Troy in the U of A versus Berkeley game.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, like, where you do the slow-mo, they do the slow-mo punch in their training. Yeah, like, you could have done that. There's stuff there. That's another scene that I liked.
Is Troy valedictorian? Yeah, exactly. Not. Like, is he valedictorian? I don't know.
What was going to happen is we weren't going to get Gabriella in the crowd, and Troy was delivering Gabriella's speech because she's off at Stanford, which I would have been okay with. Yeah. I think that would have been all right.
Yeah, the only thing that really mattered was that the dog gets a diploma. If you can see right there, the dog gets a diploma. That's really all that mattered.
I agree.
Yeah. So that was the movie. And honestly, it was. So, in Phantom Menace.
Oh God!
In Phantom Menace, I feel like they said, okay, let's look at the original trilogy and try to figure out what do people love about the original trilogy, and let's just do a lot of it in the next one. You know what they loved? They loved lightsabers. How do we get just way too many lightsabers in this first one? So I think the same thing happened with
lightsabers. Wait a minute. Let's have Grievous. He has 8 lightsabers, 6 lightsabers, whatever.
Yep. And then Rise of Skywalker, same thing. They were like, what are all the things people wanted to happen here? Let's just put it all in.
What if we just did A New Hope again? Do you think people would notice?
So then I think in this one they went, what are all the things that the fans, like a lot of fan service. That's basically what I'm saying is there's a lot of fan service in here. We want to make sure to touch on everything, as we go out. We don't want to change the arc of Sharpay. We want Sharpay to be Sharpay. And the same thing with Troy and Gabriella. We don't want to say they had to leave each other. We want to leave it that maybe there's a possibility that they're going to be together because they're 32.7 miles away from each other. Which is
not. They're over 40 miles apart. It'll take about 42-ish minutes to get there. Dealing with traffic in that area, it's probably bad. You got to go over either the Golden Gate or the Bay Bridge to get there.
I love you, man. I love that you.
Yeah, no, I looked that up. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, Stanford and Berkeley aren't that close to each other. They are. They're not far.
Yeah.
I think you're right that they wanted to keep everybody beat for beat, note for note, and I think that a better movie is showing some growth. Like I think we appreciate Troy's storyline because he does show some growth. Nobody else really does. Everybody else just kind of plays it to the archetype,
Well, either way, it was a night to remember.
Okay, we did not talk about that. That is the worst song. The Night of Nights. Is that what it is? Is it a night to remember?
Yeah, it's a night to remember. Yeah. Also, we didn't talk about the fact that they came. Innuendo. Yeah. Okay. Talk about it then.
Oh man, no.
Okay, cool. All right, then. Okay. All right, but they did bring it back. We're all in this together.
Yes,
like for that finale.
And then I texted you. Darn it!
They made me cry.
They made me cry.
You know what? In Toy Story 4, Tim Allen was talking about how hard Toy Story 4 made him cry. Toy Story 3 made me cry. Toy Story 4, I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
No, I didn't care that much. Toy Story 3 was horrible.
Right. So
I think I saw that in 3D, and I don't think the glasses were functional anymore. Like it was just waterworks everywhere.
So when you said that you were crying, I was like, "Oh man, is this going to be a heartbreaker?" I don't know. Archfox says, "Finally a Star Wars chat." No, we're not talking about no.
I have a real hard time with things ending. You're not all my therapist, so that's not really your job. But like, Girl Meets World was one of my favorite shows. I really enjoyed that show. I did not watch the last episode for a long time. I did not watch the last episode of Gravity Falls for a long time. I have a really hard time with things ending, even stuff that's stupid, like this movie. It's not great when it ends and these characters are taken out of your life. Like it's just there's something that emotional catharsis. Rob mentioned Scrubs earlier. When before Scrubs, the new batch happened, that ending of Scrubs, man, that was Waterworks City. So I just have a really hard time with endings of shows, and it's the Together Forever, we're all in this together, like slow and quiet. It really reminded me of other high school graduations. Like I could hear the Vitamin C song over that as well.
We're together. Yeah. No, I got you.
Yep.
I do love the nod to Berkeley with his dad at the end, that he's finally like kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's bought in. He's accepting the idea, and he's wearing the cap, like because everybody wears a baseball cap to with a suit to a formal graduation. Everybody. Yeah. Although in this, doesn't he look a little bit like Jason Bateman for some unknown reason?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So.
Now, man, if your kid can get it, that's not an easy school to get into, Berkeley.
Yeah.
That's a good school. Your kid can get into Berkeley. You send him to Berkeley. Yeah, I like where we ended with Troy. I don't know how I feel about everybody else. I feel like everyone else kind of stayed the path, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One last thing that happened was like all of the people on, East High, it made an E and an H, and then they go together and they make a Wildcat logo without seemingly markings on the ground. That's impressive.
I mean,
no?
Hey, that could be CGI'd. So that's definitely a possibility that happened. But, I mean, marching bands do that.
By the way, Dawn said, I won't even watch Toy Story 4. You should. Toy Story 4 is fine.
It's fun.
Toy Story 4 is fine. Here's the thing is, I said all my goodbyes in Toy Story 3. And so in Toy Story 4, it didn't seem necessary. And yet I enjoyed it. But it was like, okay, we could see Bo again. That's nice. But it didn't.
Yeah, I like Bo, and I love me some Duke Kaboom.
Love
me some Duke Kaboom.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's not a necessary movie. It was just like, I don't know if this is a necessary movie.
Okay. Anything else we need to talk about for this one before we wrap it up? Are we good?
Is there anybody that you felt like we should have seen a little bit more of?
Kelsey.
Yeah. The girl genius who can compose musicals.
Right. I mean, she ended up playing the taxi driver in Sharpay's Fantasy and had a couple other moments, but I feel like there wasn't quite enough of Kelsey. But when they do the big finale, like kind of bow, it's like the six are like the main ones. So it's like Ryan, Sharpay, Taylor, Chad, Troy, and Gabriella are like the six. So maybe I just misunderstood Kelsey's role in this whole thing, but she seems like she was a big deal throughout the whole thing.
She's a very interesting character.
Yeah.
She's kind of mysterious, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I like that. I was...
But if you think about it, none of this stuff really happens without her because she's the one that writes all the songs for them.
She's rowing that boat.
It's all about boats with you.
Yeah, all about boats. I wanted to see more of Martha. Like, I like that she was kind of in the head cheerleader role and, very accepting of that. She's smart and also a fantastic dancer. Just that. So I think we missed a couple beats here and there with a 2-hour movie that shouldn't have been 2 hours.
Okay. All right. Well, so Rosita said she got the rose. Yeah, when they threw the rose down on her piano. So that did happen. There was some tie-in there. But again, I think they defined these as like these are the six. So, all right. So the only other thing we ever usually talk about is like park tie-ins. We kind of talked about them with High School Musical 1, that there was that like High School Musical show that would float into the parks. And
literally just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I walked into it.
And they did that at DCA, and they did it at Hollywood Studios. And
all right. So I had a thought though about parks and about nostalgia and everything. Listen, I love Aerosmith. I'm from New England.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
High School Musical, the roller coaster. Let's do it.
Wow.
Come on.
I don't know.
You're in a limo. You're going to prom. You end at graduation. Come on.
What? Bob,
all those bad things I said, Bobby C. Come on.
But here's the thing, though. Very similar to Mary Poppins. With Mary Poppins, and I'm all over the place with IPs today. So with Mary Poppins, you have the OG Mary Poppins, the Julie Andrews, Bert Mary Poppins, and then you've got the new school Mary Poppins, and same thing with Cruella. You've got the new Cruella and the OG Cruella. When you are doing a High School Musical, I feel like you're mixing up your High School Musicals, because you said you wanted to call it High School Musical, the roller coaster. That's the Olivia Rodrigo generation, the Joshua Bassett generation.
Give her the roller coaster. You can listen to Driver's License and Sour. Is that her other single?
Sour is the name of her album.
I believe she was at the iHeartRadio Festival.
She was actually at the iHeartRadio daytime stage last year, and that was her first big concert debut. Was when she did that one, but she recently came to Nashville and she played the Opry House. So
that show is going to be a footnote in that young lady's career.
Yeah, the High School Musical, the series. Yeah,
We'll only know it because it launched her career, because she is uberly talented.
Yep. No, I don't disagree. But again, like, you need to get your IPs together. Like, is it this one, or is it the High School Musical, the series? Because it's completely different, because this one is based on
it's a movie that exists in the other movie's world.
Exactly. Yeah. The other one's sort of meta. But anyway, they all had their moment at the end here, and this was great. And we get to say goodbye to these folks on the big screen, and now they kind of get to play a little in this new series and show up a little bit here and there, and that's cool. So I don't know. I just want to know. Go ahead.
I was really struck in that shot with the 6 that you can really tell the effect that it's having on Taylor. Like, she is clearly glassy-eyed, and it's an emotional thing. I can't imagine what it's like to go through something like this. Actually, I can, because when we didn't know what Park Center's future was, and it felt like the last Park Center, I cried a ton. So I guess I do know a little bit of what it feels like. But the emotion that has to be shown there, and you're getting captured on screen, the actress was very in the moment, I feel.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. You're trying to take this show home. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. So, yeah, we went a little long on this one, but then this movie went a little long, so it's only fair.
Show you.
But yeah, and Park Center, by the way, is not going to be on this coming week because it's Father's Day weekend, and I feel like people need to go ahead and celebrate Dad and not us.
Yeah.
So we're taking the week off. We're going to be back on Park Center the week after that, and then
I'm on it, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you on, and then we're going to have another break. And we're going to do a show in Orlando. Probably a mistake, but we're going to do that. And that's going to be the first show on WDWNT TV on the 10th. So
sweet, that's awesome.
And we're going to move to 9 o'clock on Sundays so that it's not as difficult, and hopefully we can get more Patrick on. Yeah, because 8 o'clock's tough. 8 o'clock's tough.
Yeah.
So anyway, but also in August we're going to be celebrating the 200th episode of Park Center. Yes. So my friend, Park Center lives, Park Center exists, and we love having you on it. And so let's do that. But let's talk about this. Let's wrap this up. You ready?
I'm ready.
Just like they wrapped up High School Musical in this, but then not really because Sharpay. I need to ask you a question, my friend. Mm-hmm. And I need you, as our High School Musical aficionado, expert, I need you to be taking this very seriously. And it's important. The people need to know, would you recommend this movie?
Oh, man. So if you look behind me, there's all these pops. And at one point in time, I had to realize that collecting Deadpool, one of the most popular characters, I can't be a completionist. However, with movies, I'm a completionist. I want to see this story through. So if you've already watched 1 and 2, you should watch 3. If you're going to suddenly pick up a movie to watch it along with Deep in the Plus, Rosita, please don't pick 3. Number one, it makes no sense. You don't have any of the storylines going in. Number 2, it is the worst of the bunch. By far.
Okay. You know what? I agree with you that if you're watching 1 and 2, you need to finish with 3. This is the Godfather of this trilogy.
I still haven't seen that. I have not watched Godfather 3 yet.
So again, I think that it's necessary, or not necessary, but I think it's needed if you watch the first 2 to watch the third one. It's not needed for the parks. It's not needed for the new series. You don't need to know it for all those things. But it had a theater budget, and in some ways, from from a technical standpoint is probably the best of the three, but I think that the music was not as memorable, and that also the story didn't seem it seemed like they were trying to tie up 1 and 2 and kind of give it a kiss goodbye. So I do think that from that standpoint, it has to, we have to give it its props. I do have to ask about this though. In the final credits, that says Stan Carrizosa, High School Musical Get in the Picture winner. I assume there's some kind of a weird contest where.
Yes, there was.
Oh, do you know about that contest?
I do.
Did you enter that contest?
No, sir. I cannot dance.
Okay.
It was like a So You Think You Can Dance type of show. They did it on Disney Channel, and the winner got to be in the film.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so one final question for you, Patrick, is what is, now that we've reviewed all three, and I don't know if we're going into Sharpay land or not, that is to be.
We'll eventually have to.
Well, but I also feel like this was the end of the trilogy, and that's what we signed you on for. Your deal was for the trilogy, so I guess we're going to have to do some contract negotiation to get you back on for that one or for the series. But
double my man, I don't know. I started watching the series. I wasn't feeling it.
Well, it's not made for you.
I know.
I mean, that's the thing.
So many types of media that aren't made for me, I consume either way. So
probably.
Yeah.
So the question is, out of the three that you've reviewed, what's the best High School Musical movie?
It's tough. It's really tough because you always want to go with the original. It started everything out. But I think for my money, for the songs, for the enjoyment, I go with 2. I think High School Musical 2 is the best of the bunch, and it's the one that I will most often rewatch. I would go 2, 1, 3. That's the order I would rank them.
You would go 2, 1, 3?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
You know what? I think for me, and I don't think it matters, but I think for me it would start with 1 and then go to 2 and then go to 3.
Yeah,
but I'm
weird like that. I'm a big Last Crusade fan, and I'm also an oddly Back to the Future 3 person. So I kind of like after I get the characters and know them for a while when they get put in silly situations, and I also like Saved by the Bell the summer years. I enjoy those too. So it's
Well, I secretly know though why you love 2, and maybe it's not a secret why you love 2.
Yes, it is absolutely this scene. It is one of my favorite things. Bet on it. That's the name of that song. Bet on it.
Bet on it. Bet on it. Yeah, exactly.
And I don't dance. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, with the baseball scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
I don't know, man. This scene, really, this is the best movie.
Yeah, it definitely is. He's so mad at the golf course.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Sorry we went extra innings for this one, but again, Patrick, thank you for being the High School Musical guy. I really feel like we need to get back to the Love Bug at some point because I loved those old Herbie Goes Bananas, Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. We at least need to do Herbie Fully Loaded to offshoot the original
Disney Plus yet?
I'm pretty sure it's on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we intended to do. So
that was what we signed up to do, and then went, wait a minute, that's not actually on here. Yeah, so I don't know, but let us know in the comments what you thought, and really what I want to know is what everybody thinks is the best High School Musical of them all. So definitely let us know that. And thank you for everybody that joined us tonight. Don't forget this channel is evolving and growing. There'll be lots more to do, so don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up here. Deep in the Plus will remain on here, and we'll be here as well as Disney Entertainment News Today. We hope you guys are watching that show. There's a new episode that dropped just yesterday. That drops every Tuesday. Very quick to watch and updates you on all of the Disney Entertainment news that we are not covering on the main channel. So thank you guys. Thank you, Patrick. Any last words from you, my friend?
What team?
Wildcats?
Get your head in the game.
I just have to say, as we're leaving, we really are all in this together.
All right.
Because once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. Have a great one.